The following video is kindly sponsored by Squarespace. Stick around at the end for more information. Hey everybody, Daniel from Spacedock here, and I thought I would just check in to give my thoughts on the Stinger Mantis from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, as that's kind of a relevant topic right now. It's an interesting little ship. I believe it's called an S-161 Stinger XL. It's a luxury yacht, and apparently, I guess it's just called the Mantis then. It's a Stinger, and it's called Mantis is the name. It's a luxury yacht, and it's of a kind of interesting design. I like the general shape overall. It's got this very, very wacky set of moving parts here with this giant dorsal fin and this moving engine strut, and you'll see how that works in a moment when I move this to another planet to demonstrate. That's my least favorite part of the design. It's a little bit weird, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. If we quickly shoot over to the front, it does have a couple of cannons. I don't know if these are aftermarket. This is a Lateran Spaceworks design, apparently. The Laterans are a new race introduced in this game. Basically, one of the main characters is of this species, and that's the extent of the information on them. But this ship comes from their shipyards, evidently. We see the cannons used a couple of times, but this is obviously a civilian yacht. It's not a warship or a combat ship of any kind. It can't really maneuver or fight. I don't know if it actually has shields. Probably. By this point in Star Wars fiction, basically everything has shields, unless you're a poor Imperial TIE pilot. Okay, so let's go in here. Sadly, not all of this ship is explorable, which is a shame. I think of these two airlock doors, depending on what planet you're on and where the ship is parked, sometimes you use the other door, which is a nice little touch. You got a hollow map here with a sort of circular ops area with some comfy seats. I must say, for a yacht, this is it's not especially luxurious. It's kind of simplistic galley design with a bit of space. I guess it's relatively spacious for a ship of its size. Let's go over to the cockpit. I really like this cockpit layout. This is awesome. I love that there is transparent steel underneath the seats, because it means the pilots can look down between their legs and see what's beneath them. This is almost never the case on any sci-fi design, and yet it is extremely useful. So well done on thinking that through. This is a really cool angular cockpit design. It's probably my favorite part of the ship. And we've got like an ops chair over here, a communications station that sees a lot of use during the story. I guess the seat on the left is elevated a bit because that seems to have come. I assume this would be designed with the Lateran species in mind, and we might be able to see Grease over here just so I can show you what those guys look like. So here he is. They got 4 arms and they're quite short. So I suppose this ship would have been designed with that biology in mind, and the pilot seat, as you can see, is raised up as he's sitting in it, and the side consoles are at level with his arms. We get to sit in this chair when it's in transit. I'll show that off in a minute. But overall, this is a pretty cool design. It's very slick, nice layout, and it lends itself well to character dialogue, as you'll see. I think there's some transition dialogue as we're talking, as we're moving through the systems. Over here, there's a terrarium. I originally thought this might be for airponics or hydroponics. It's not. It's just decorative. This guy here is apparently interested in botany, so that's a little bit of characterization that goes on there. I think Star Wars technology is way beyond the need for hydroponics. A bit of a galley. Nice little design, looks fairly comfortable. Some very thin windows here. Again, for a yacht, not a lot of viewports or external view. And it's interesting, this ship, first of all, it's a yacht, so it's kind of incredibly conspicuous, and probably the last thing you would choose to go on the run from the Inquisition in. And at first, when I heard it was a yacht before I played the game, I assumed that it would just be something that falls into the character's hands somehow. But no, they specifically charter this ship for the job of running away from the Empire and doing all kinds of adventures on the run. So I'm not sure that's the choice I would have made, but oh well. Yep, this is pretty straightforward so far. Let's go back in here. This is where we have some spacing issues. This room, we can't go into these rooms, which is a shame. But I suspect one of the reasons we can't go into them is because no real thought has gone into the design. This room cannot be very big. It can only be like one abreast. This one is the least annoying. This could conceivably be somebody's quarters. There's enough space for it. This is less so over here because these doors are maybe like 3 feet closer to me now than the bulkhead. So these are really small rooms. They've got to be cupboards or something. this, I think one of these is a couple of VLS single occupant escape pods, because we see that at one point in the campaign, though I can't remember which door it was. But it's probably one of these. Maybe this one, because it's got a different looking door. But if we go through here, this is the engine room. For some reason, Cal sleeps in the engine room. I don't know why. The ship, it's a yacht. Again, it's a yacht with like not very many quarters and not very comfortable quarters, which is strange. Maybe it's like been messed with and modified or something. Anyway, some more stuff going on here. Some random greeblies. You can see the hyperdrive at the back there. Looks a lot like the Nubian one from the Phantom Menace, which is a nice little touch. And here's a bit that annoys me. There's a ladder, and we can see that there's an entire hallway. I can't angle the camera properly, but we can see there's an entire hallway under the main deck there. So there's basically a subdeck, which we can't explore, which is a shame. It occurred to me that maybe the quarters are down there, in which case one of these little doors on the right could just be a ladder pit, or maybe a small turbo lift or something, which would explain this absence of space here. And maybe all of the crew quarters are downstairs, but for some reason you still need to go through the engine room and climb down a ladder. But then again, we're also hitting some problems here. I suspect maybe this ship's interior does not fit inside of its exterior, which is a very, very common problem in science fiction. My favourite example of this is Lucy from Killjoys, where its interior is like 3 times bigger than its exterior, and it also has a rover that clearly doesn't fit through the door to the bay it's kept in, which is a little bit funny. So if we look here, I don't see really how there can be enough space for a deck beneath the deck. I'm wondering if they, like, maybe this, because there was a door at the end of that hallway, and it's hard to justify how that could fit. It could possibly fit. If the designer is watching this video and wants to let me know or something, maybe it does fit and we just never got to see all of it. But again, we wouldn't have this problem if they had just shown off the whole thing. I would have liked to be able to walk all the way through it and everything. While we're out here, I'll just show off the aft. There's just some pretty standard engine design here. These landing legs are completely bananas. I'm going to show like how that integrates into the ship when it takes off in a minute. You can't jump on top of the thing. I mean, you could even climb on the ship in Mass Effect Andromeda, and like that game was a disaster. So, really, come on, I'm a Jedi. Let me climb on top of my spaceship for pity's sake. And I think there's a lot of invisible walls. Yeah, you can't even go. Yeah, that's a shame. But oh well. The game is not specifically designed for nutcases like myself to gawk at the spaceship. Also, while I'm on the topic here, this ship doesn't have a databank entry. In the game's in-game codex, there's codex entries on every random bit of fungus in the entire game, but not on the hero ship, which is quite disappointing. But oh well. I'm going to quickly fly this to another planet now, just so that you can see the animations and what it looks like in flight. Let's go for Kashyyyk. Okay, so as we can see, the little seats are getting used here. I really like how you get to see this take off, and you see the view. We get some hyperspace animation now. I'm going to sit in the chair now because you get to do that as it flies through. And here we go. We can see it with the I guess they're S-foils extended as it's coming in. You see it's got that third kind of engine on the bottom, and the whole thing rotates horizontally. And then the thing folds upwards, and then the landing gear comes out of the side of that rotating central section. Now this is a engineering nightmare. This is so pointlessly complicated. There's a million points of failure here. Generally speaking, you want as few moving parts as possible in a spaceship design. And normally the excuse for this, especially in Star Wars, is that it looks cool. And I'm not entirely convinced that it looks cool in this case. It's just a little bit weird, this design overall. And I really like the shape of the central frame, so I kind of would have preferred if it just didn't have all of this weird stuff going on. But, you know, or if it just had this engine thing on both sides, and it was just fixed. I know that's very simplistic, and maybe I'm being a bit boring there, but I think that might have been a cooler looking design overall. But yeah, that's the Stinger Mantis. It's a Lateran luxury yacht, an interesting little addition to the Star Wars property. Maybe we will see more Lateran Spaceworks designs moving forwards. It's a pretty serviceable hero ship. I wish we could have seen all of its interior. We get some fairly decent beauty shots of it in flight in the game, which is more than I can say for the Outer Worlds, which had unfortunately little in the way of landing and transit animations for the Unreliable, which I would have really liked to see more of. But yeah, overall, cool little ship. Maybe we'll see more of it in DLC or future content or something. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you're a fan of this design. Maybe this is a little bit more popular with fans than it is with me. This is just sort of a kind of 6 out of 10 on the old Spacedock meter, I think. Could have been better, but certainly not bad. And it has the potential to grow on me as a hero ship in future stories. But so far on the Star Wars Hero Ships of November 2019 charts, I think the Razor Crest from The Mandalorian is winning. I do prefer that design. That's a pretty cool little ship. But yep, just a short one here. Let me know what you think of this ship in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and this is Daniel from Spacedock, signing off. This video was kindly sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is an online website development template. It's an easy-to-access, versatile tool that can allow you to set up a professional-looking web presence that will add a lot more authenticity to a small business or an online portfolio than you might find from simply having a social media page or a LinkedIn account. It's got a straightforward, easy-to-learn interface, and it will allow you to create something very modern-looking and very sleek-looking without the need to learn the intricacies of HTML or CSS, and just very easily allowing you to put together something very professional looking without consuming too much time or effort. Perfect if you're an artist looking for somewhere to place a portfolio, perfect if you're running a small business, or indeed if you're a YouTube personality like myself who's just looking to further their brand awareness a little bit with a professional looking website. And if you're interested in checking out Squarespace, you can use the code Spacedock and the link in the description below this video for 10% off. I hope you'll check out Squarespace. It's a really useful tool, and we really appreciate them supporting Spacedock with this sponsorship. Thank you all for watching. This is Daniel from Spacedock, signing off. Thank you for watching Spacedock. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please do check out the links on the screen right now or in the description below for our Patreon and channel membership services. Anything you can pledge goes towards improving our team and our equipment and allowing us to put together bigger and more exciting video projects for you guys on the channel.